Okay, so today we are going to discuss about a new concept which is called as what? The predicate joining. Okay, before understanding about the predicate joining, I want you to understand a requirement first of all. So my requirement could be like this. For example, if I am asked to manipulate the data from an array of numbers. So let me take an array. Let me take an integer array, and I have array of numbers. For example, let us say that the numbers are like 10, 20, minus 20, minus 10, and 100, 45, 76, 79, 59, 74, 99, 91, and 101. So this is an example case. Okay, I have an array of numbers. Let me copy all these numbers. So I have array of numbers. So my requirement is like, so I want to write a predicate. I want to do what? My first requirement is I want to write a predicate to display the numbers that are lesser than 50. First thing, I want to list out all the numbers from this array to display, or I can say that I want to display the numbers that are less than 50. My first requirements by using a predicate. Okay, and my second requirement could be I want to display the even numbers. I want to do what? I want to display the even numbers. And the third one could be I want to display the odd numbers. I want to display what? I want to display the odd numbers. So you can have a lot of requirement from a given array. So it depends upon the requirement. Based upon the requirement, you're going to write a predicate. Right? For all these requirements, I am asked to write a predicate and write a lambda expression to do all these things. How can we achieve that? How can we do this actually? That is the question. So very simple. So usually what we do, yesterday we were discussing about what? We know now we are experts in writing a predicate. We know what is predicate. What is a predicate? The functional interface that was introduced in JTK 1.8 version. We know this already, and we know it is in a package, and we know there is a method called test method, okay, which is going to accept any kind of argument, but the return type is always Boolean type. So by utilizing this test method, we need to write such logic that our logic is going to fulfill all these requirements, all these common requirements. The requirements can be increasing. Okay, the requirements are like, it keeps increasing. It is not limited to 3 requirements. Okay, you can do a lot of things with this with the given array. Sir, no. First, let us try to do the first requirement. Let us try to fulfill the first requirement, which is what? Display the numbers that are lesser than 50. Right? So let me write a predicate. Okay, what is the given array? This is the given array. Right? I want to write a predicate. So I'm writing the predicate directly. If you want, I can do this also. So firstly, let us write. Let us do this without using lambda expression. Okay. First time we will do this without using lambda expression. Then we will convert this to lambda expression for the better clarity, so that you will not you will get much comfortable. Okay. So driver class implements predicate, and the generic type is what? Integer type. Okay, after this implementation, the contract says you need to override the abstract method, which is the test method itself. Yes or no? Public Boolean test method, right? So this generic type will apply here. Integer. You can give any variable name. For the time being, I am giving the variable name as I. Right? So we need to write a logic in such a way that what is the first requirement? It is going to fulfill the first requirement. The first requirement is display the numbers that are lesser than 50. Right? You need to check, you need to give a conditional check. If the number that you are receiving here, the number that you are receiving here, if I is what should be the condition? Lesser than 50. Okay, if I is lesser than 50, return true, else return false. Right, so this is the we have overridden the test method without using the lambda expression, but I want to convert this to lambda expression. How can this be converted to a lambda expression? Very simple, isn't it? You need to remove this implements predicate, right? This is not required when you are converting this to lambda expression. We have seen these things already in the previous class, so I can directly write the predicate here. Okay, it is taking what? Integer type, and you can give any meaningful name. For the time being, I am giving the name as p1 equal to, right? You can copy this, you can cut, I mean, you can, there is no requirement to override the abstract method because your class is not implementing directly, you are using the lambda expression, right? So just copy this code and just put it here, and you can do what? You can do the required things. What are the required things that you need to do to make sure that this is a lambda expression? For the lambda expression, the access modifier is not required, so I am removing that. The return type is not required, and the name of the method is also not required. And you need to ensure that you are placing an arrow operator between the parameters and the body of the lambda expression. And after doing this, you should also do what? You should also remember to keep the semicolon at the end. Okay, this is the complete lambda expression, and you can optimize this further. How the optimization could be done? If the lambda expression is taking only one parameter, you do not have to specify the parameter actually, because the data, I mean, I'm talking about the data type, not the parameter. If there is any data type, you can actually remove this data type, because based upon the context, compiler will recognize the data type. First thing. And if a lambda expression is taking only one parameter, only accepting one argument, this parenthesis is also mandatory. It is also not mandatory. You can remove that, right? And these things can be converted if it is a conditional check, and inside this condition, if there is only one line, directly if you have the return statement, return true or return false, because in the if conditional check there is one statement, and in the else conditional check there is only one statement. If that is the case, you can directly give this condition, you can just keep this condition, and you can remove everything else, right? So you do not have to deal with this, you can remove everything else, you can just keep this condition. Okay, if the body of the lambda expression is containing only one statement, okay, this parenthesis is also not required, right? So this is the optimized lambda expression, right? And since it is only one line, you are dealing with only one line, this is also removed. My question is, you have successfully created a lambda expression for the predicate. So this is the equivalent lambda expression for the predicate. So this is your class. Okay, how you can utilize this lambda expression to display numbers that are lesser than 50. Okay, if the number is lesser than 50, if this condition is satisfied, for example, the first number is 10. First number, let's deal with the first number. First number is 10. Okay, 10 is what? 10 is lesser than 50, right? It should return true. I mean, it should display the number. Second number is what? 20. 20 is lesser than 50, it should display this number. Third number is what? Minus 20. Minus 20, again it satisfies the condition, it should display. Minus 10, again it satisfies the condition, it should display. And 100 is not satisfying this condition, you should not display. And you should display 45, you should not display 76. Like that you need to do, right? You need to check each and every number. You need to check each and every number. In order to check each and every number in an array, I can directly use a for loop, right? I can place a for loop, and I can start this for loop from int I equal to 0, I is lesser than numbers dot length I plus plus. So I can do the iteration such that the iteration starts from the 0th index and it continues till the last index. So each and every element will be retrieved from the 0th index, and it will be checked on top of this predicate condition, and output could be written. So I can place a condition here. Okay, inside this condition, right? Inside this condition, I can do what? I can pass. So it is just like, say, for example, if I'm not doing this, you want to check each and everything individually. How I'm supposed to do? I have to check p1 dot. I need to call the test method, right? And I need to pass the number 10. Yes or no? If you do this, see, this is not a good programming practice. You will get the output. You will get the output, and it is like you're checking each and every number, and it is a kind of hard coding stuff, right? I'm not getting the output in the console. Okay, I need to print this instead. System dot out dot println. Sorry. System dot out dot println. If I do this, if I keep doing like this, okay, I am getting the output as true, right? But I want to print the content. I know 10 is lesser than 50. It is giving me the true, but I want to print the content. I can do the same thing for each and every number. Okay, second number is 20. Third number is what? Minus 20. Okay, if I keep doing this, the code is going to get increased. This is not the good programming practice. Directly I am using the for loop. Directly I am doing what? Directly I am using the for loop. Okay, in the for loop I am starting the condition from 0th index, and the condition ends exactly at the last index, and I am placing a condition like if condition inside the for loop, and here I am calling the test method p1.test. This test method will accept the each and every argument of the array. Okay, the first argument must be what? What is the name of the array? Numbers itself is the name of the array. So numbers of I, right? And what I am doing? System dot out dot println. Okay, if this condition is valid, okay, if the if condition gets successful, it should come into the block of the if condition, and the content inside the system dot out dot println must be printed. So I want to print what? Numbers of I. Okay, if I do this, I am going to get all the numbers that are lesser than 50. If I run this code, see, all the numbers are printed that are lesser than 50. So 10, 20, minus 20, minus 10. If you want to print this in the straight line, I can remove this println statement, and I can place a gap between them. If I do this, all the numbers are displayed that are lesser than 50. Like this, I can write. I can fulfill all my requirements that I was just talking about. Okay, what is second requirement? Display only the even numbers. If you want to display only the even numbers, then write a predicate integer, okay, p2 equal to, it's very simple, right? I arrow token, the I is the integer that you are passing. If that integer percentage to double equal to 0, this is the predicate. This is the predicate that is used to display the even numbers. What is the name of this predicate? What is the reference variable for this predicate? P2. What is the lambda expression logic? You are passing an integer I. That I is getting what? That you are doing a kind of mathematical operation on top of I, and it is going to tell whether the given number is a even number or not. If it is returning true, that is an even number. If not, that is an odd number. That is not an even number. Okay, instead of p1, okay, if I pass p1 here, you are getting what? You are getting the display. The numbers are getting displayed. Okay, the numbers that are lesser than 50 are getting displayed. If you are passing p2 here, okay, all the even numbers will be displayed. Are you getting? All the even numbers will be displayed. But if you do not want to print the even numbers, if you want to print if you want to print only the odd numbers, so the condition is like I percentage of 2 not equal to 0. So the reference variable is p3. So you can fulfill most of the common requirements with the help of predicates. So I'm just making you to understand. Okay, now if I pass p3 here, instead of p2, if I pass p3, okay, all the odd numbers will be displayed. Even numbers are eliminated. Are you getting this? Even numbers are eliminated, or all the odd numbers are getting displayed. Like this, I can keep any kind of requirements. Okay, my P4 requirement can be, we can say that I want to print the numbers that are divisible by 5. That are divisible by 5. Okay, I want to print the numbers that are lesser than 0. I want to print all the negative numbers. I want to print what? I want to print all the negative numbers. Okay, this is the condition to print all the negative numbers. If any number I that is lesser than 0, it is going to return what? True. If I is lesser than 0, that is going to return true, which means any numbers that are lesser than 0 are negative numbers. So the output has to be what? If I pass P5 here, okay, the output should be what? The output should be negative numbers. Minus 20, minus 9. Because in this array, we have only 2 negative numbers that will be printed. Right? You can write many condition just by using the lambda expression. Look at the concept. It is very easy, isn't it? Right? So instead of doing like this, I can write a method. I can write a utility method for this. Instead of hard coding this, I can write a utility method. Okay, that utility method will accept a predicate, and it will accept this array as an argument. How I can write that? Okay, here I am writing a method like public static void check predicate. The name of the method is check predicate. Okay, any meaningful name you can give. Okay, this predicate, this this method is going to accept 2 arguments. This is my own method. You can design your own method. One is what? Predicate itself. It is accepting predicate of integer type, and the reference variable is p. The second one is it is also accepting an integer array. Right? And if you pass this method will accept what? I'm writing the core logic inside this method. Instead of numbers, I'm passing a, instead of numbers, I'm replacing the numbers variables as a, right? And instead of I'm just giving it as p. Okay, you can utilize this method, and you can call this method every time to fulfill your requirements. Right? So for example, if you want to call what? If you want to call that method, what is the name of the method? Check predicate is a method. Check predicate. Okay, check predicate. If you are passing p1, comma, and if you are passing what? Okay, numbers itself. Numbers is an array. Okay, p1 is meant to give the number, display the numbers that are lesser than 50. Okay, so in this way you can achieve this. Likewise, you can call this method static method. That method is static so that you do not have to create any object. So you can pass p2 and you can pass the array. Okay, that logic will be executed in such a way that the actual requirement will be displayed in the console. So the reason why it is printing in the straight line is because you are not using what? Next line. Okay, let me use the next line here. Stem.out.println. Okay, now this will be resolved. Okay, not here. 1 minute. Let me use that here. Okay. Okay, now that is visible. To display the even numbers, right? I mean, this is the to display the even numbers, to display the list of numbers that are lesser than 50. You can pass your own predicate here by calling this method. So this is the utility method that I have created to fulfill the basic requirements. Okay, so this is how you can write predicate to deal with an array. Okay, I have another requirement. Okay, now I have another requirement. My another requirement is what? So before understanding the another requirement, I want you to understand the predicate joining. Predicate joining. Okay, now we have seen some requirement, guys. We have seen some requirements. What are the requirements we have seen? So for my first requirement is okay, let us say that my requirement is I want to display numbers that are greater than what? That are greater than 50, or else I want to display numbers. I want to display even numbers. If you want to even display the even numbers, the logic has been written. Okay, but I want to ensure that odd numbers are displayed without touching that logic. I'll tell you what is it. Okay, here to display the even numbers, this is the actual logic, isn't it? To display the even numbers, this is the actual logic. So this logic will ensure that all the even numbers will be displayed. But I want to ensure that, okay, I want to print the odd numbers. I want to print the odd numbers without even changing this logic, without even manipulating this logic, or without even manipulating this lambda expression. This one requirement. Sometimes my requirement could be, okay, my requirement could be I want to display even numbers, and also I want to display what that even number should be greater than 50. Display even numbers, and it should be, or it must be greater than 50. Two conditions at the same time. Two conditions. So how I can fulfill these two conditions? So actually what I'm talking about is, so if I want to fulfill these two conditions, usually I need to write two logics, right? Two lambda expressions. Okay, the one lambda expression is meant for to display the numbers that are lesser than 50. The second lambda expression is to display the numbers, the even numbers. Actually, I want to combine this two logic. I want to join this two logic, so that if I join these two logics, I should be getting what? I should be getting the even numbers that are lesser than 50 or that are greater than 50. So if I want to display the even numbers that are greater than 50, I need to just change the logic. I want to join two predicate logics. If I want to join two predicate logic, I need to go for what? The predicate joining. Okay, so usually I have been telling you, okay, what is a predicate? Predicate is a functional interface. So we know this already. So predicate is a functional interface. Predicate, so it is a functional. So it is defined as a functional interface because inside the predicate there is only one abstract method. What is the name of that abstract method? Test method is the abstract method, right? Test method is abstract method. So because of this only one abstract method, it is a predicate. But the predicate there are three default methods in the predicate. Three default methods, and one static method is also there in the predicate. Okay, the limitation is there only for the abstract method to define this predicate as a functional interface, because for the definition of the functional interface must and should have only one abstract method. That criteria is fulfilled here. Okay, the limitation is there only for the abstract method. If any interface has only one abstract method, no matter how many default methods it has, no matter how many static methods it has. Okay, the restriction is there only for one abstract method. So according to the definition, the predicate is satisfying the definition because the predicate has only one abstract method, but it has three default methods and one static method. So these default methods are, okay, they are called as AND method, OR method, and negate method. Okay, these are the default method that the predicate interface has. Let me repeat. There are three default methods inside the predicate. So we will understand what is the purpose of this default method in the short period of time. So they are what? AND method, OR method, and the negate method. So negate has to be in small letter, and there is one static method. So the static method is what? Is equals method. Is equals method. Are you getting this? So what is the purpose of this AND method, OR method, and the negate method, and what is the purpose of this equals method? We will understand that shortly. Now you see, let us go back here. Okay, your requirement is two requirements. You want to join two predicates. In order to join two predicates, you need to use what? You need to use the predicate joining. You need to do what? You need to use the predicate. This is not negative, guys. This is negate. Okay, what do you want to do? So there is a method called AND method. AND method is one of the default methods inside the predicate. One of the default methods in predicate. This AND method will ensure that two conditions are satisfied. What happens? This and method is a default method in the predicate that will ensure that two conditions are satisfied. Okay, I can write it like in the predicate sixth. Please be informed that there are three default and one static method inside the predicate. Okay, the default methods are and method, or method, and the negate method, and their return type is predicate itself. Their return type is predicate itself. Okay, we will see this in detail. And they are used to do what? They are used to join two or more predicates. Actually, let us say that they are used to join two predicates to fulfill the most specific common requirements. If I want to use the AND method, AND is a default method. So if my requirement is, see, I want to display the even numbers, guys. For to display the even numbers, my logic is already written. Okay, in the application I've written the logic like this. So this logic ensures that even numbers will be displayed in the consoles. But I do not want to touch this logic. Without touching this logic, I want to write a logic. Write a logic in such a way that this P2 is displaying the odd numbers. I can do what? I can create a predicate of integer. Okay, I can give my own name, odd numbers, any name I can give, equal to, I can call P2 dot negate. If I call negate method on top of this, if I call negate method, the logic will be reversed. This logic is meant to display even numbers. If I call the negate method on top of this reference variable, the logic will be reversed. Reverse means what? Odd numbers will be displayed. This is one case. Okay, I want to combine these two predicate. Okay, this first predicate is going to display numbers that are greater than 50. Greater than 50. The second predicate is going to display even numbers. Even numbers. I want to combine these two logic. When I combine these two logic, I want to do what? I want to print the numbers that are greater than 50. Then those numbers must be the even numbers. If you want to do that, I need to define a third predicate. Okay, and I want to do what? Greater 50. Any meaningful name. Greater 50 and even, equal to, I can join these two predicates with the help of the default method, which is what? AND method. P1 dot and P2. If I do this, okay, this is going to return me a predicate which is greater than 50 and they are even numbers. This is second default method. First default method is negate method. Second default method is this method. Okay, there is another default method. Okay, my requirement is to display even numbers or the numbers that are greater than 50. Any logic, both condition. I want to display even numbers or display the numbers that are greater than 50. If that is the requirement, okay, I can do what? Instead of AND, I can do OR. Okay, the AND method, the OR method, and the negate method is the default method in the predicate. This can be used to do the predicate joining. Actually, this can be used to do the predicate joining. Now you have understood the little about what is predicate joining. Okay, so I can write it like, please be informed that the process of combining multiple predicate object predicate objects using the default methods of predicate such as AND method, OR method, negate method. It's called as predicate joining. So it is equivalent to working with AND operator, OR operator, and NOT operators. Now we have understood, you have got something about predicate joining. Let us see these things practically. So you have this piece of code. Okay, so now let us say, okay, now let us say, so this code is giving me what? This code is giving, let me remove this. This code is giving me the even numbers. I want to change this. I want to negate this. I can use what? Predicate joining. So I will take predicate. I will take an integer. Okay, I want to print odd numbers. So the meaningful reference variable name is odd numbers. What I want to do, I will call P2 and I will call the negate method. Okay, already we have the utility method. We have created check predicate method. Okay, let me call that check predicate method, which will accept two variables. One is the reference variable of the predicate and the second one is the array numbers. So these numbers. Okay, look at how the logic is reversed. Actually, our logic is meant to display the even numbers. I have changed that logic by using the negate method. Negate method is a default method. Okay, if I run this code, all the odd numbers will be printed. 45, 59, 91, 99, 91, 101. Do we have the same odd numbers? 45, 59, 99, 91, 101. So this is the importance of negate method. You can reverse the logic. Not only for this, okay, see, you have the logic written. So this logic is going to print to display what? To display the numbers that are lesser than 50, isn't it? Display numbers that are lesser than 50. If you want to reverse this logic, use the negate method on top of this reference variable p1 dot negate. Okay, so just use p1 and change the reference. Okay, for the time being, I'm keeping the reference variable as p6, something like that, because we are working with many predicates. So p6. Okay, now I can say that this p6 is a predicate. It is working upon another predicate. What is another predicate? P1. What is P1 is doing? It is displaying numbers that are lesser than 50. Okay, and you are calling negate method, so it will just do the opposite. So it will display numbers that are greater than 50. The logic will be reversed here. See, all the numbers that are greater than 50 is displayed. So this is the purpose of negate method, right? And if you want to combine these two logics, so P1 is displaying the numbers that are lesser than 50. P2 is displaying numbers that are even numbers. If we want to combine two logic, so both the conditions should be true. So the output should be what? Number should be lesser than 50, but and all the numbers should be what? Even numbers. If that is the case, I can do what? I can call P1, I can use the AND default method and I can pass P2. So this AND default method will ensure that two conditions are fulfilled. That what are two conditions? It should be number should be lesser than 50 and all the numbers should be what? Even numbers. Are we getting the same thing? Numbers are lesser than 50 and all the numbers are even numbers. So this is importance of AND method. This is one of the predicate joining. Okay, now my requirement is I don't care if the numbers are lesser than 50 and also if any condition satisfied. If any one of the condition is satisfied, I want to execute that. If I just use OR method, I will get all the numbers that are even as well as that are lesser than 50. So even numbers as well as that are lesser than 50. Both conditions. You may be asking why 100 is printed, because 100 is even number that is getting printed, right? And the remaining numbers are lesser than 50, and if it is greater than 50, that should be even number, so that even number is also considered here. So this is one of the concepts of what? The predicate joining, right? What if I call the negate method? See, I can keep this, enclose this 2 in the bracket, I can call what? Negate method. Okay, this will do the opposite. This will just do the opposite. So numbers that are greater than 50 are getting printed, and they are odd numbers now. Right, now we have understood the predicate joining. Predicate joining is nothing but what? Predicate joining is to combining multiple predicate object using the default methods of predicate such as and or negate, which is called as predicate joining. It is just equivalent to working with and or not operators. Are you getting this? So now let us try to work with some strings. Okay, so we have understood what is predicate joining. Now let us try to understand some concept of string. Okay, I have a string array of string, and I am taking names. I will take some actors name. So Ajit, Pavan, Pavan Kalyan, and I will take Vijay. I will take Surya. I will take Mahesh Babu. Okay, and I will take Vikram. I will take NTR. I have list of some actors, so they are in the string format. A string of an array I have taken. Okay, I want to print the names. I want to print the names that starts with S, or I want to print the names that starts with A. My requirements keep changing. I want to print the names that is not starting with M. I want to print the names that is greater the length of the name. If the length of the name is greater than 6, I want to print those names. Okay, I want to write a predicate for this. How I can write a predicate for this? The predicate, what is the type that we have? It's a string type, right? So my first requirement is print names that are that starts with, or I can say that starts with B. Okay, how I can write a predicate? So I will be passing what? I will be passing a string. Okay, and an arrow operator. Okay, and a semicolon. Okay, I need to return the string, right? So I can directly write a lambda expression like, without doing all this, I can directly write a lambda expression like s dot, there is a method called starts with B. Okay, so if there is only one data types are optional. If there is only one argument, that can be removed. So this is a simple lambda expression. This is simple lambda expression. So I can write a for loop. I'm using for each loop here. Right? Names X. You know what is for each loop, right? It's just like a for loop. String X. Okay. If starts with V dot test, I'm passing an array system dot out dot println X. Okay, now this is going to help me to print all the names that are starting with V. Names, all the names that are. If you want to do the opposite, I can do what? I can use the negate method. Not here. Okay, I can use. If you want to print the opposite, I can do what? Not starts with V. Not starts with V. Okay, I can remove this. I can use the negate method dot negate. Okay, if I do this and if I just pass this here, not starts with V, I will be able to see all the names, all the actors names that are not starting with V. Are you getting this? We have a requirement to print the actors names whose length is greater than 6. For example, Pawan Kalyan has 5 characters and plus 5 plus 6. So totally Pawan Kalyan has 11 characters. So Mahesh Babu has many characters. So I want to print the actors whose length is greater than 8 I want to take. Okay, I can write a predicate. Okay, predicate of string type. Okay, greater than 8. So I will pass a string. Okay, that string I will get the length of the string if the length of the string is greater than 8. Okay, now use this greater than 8 method here. Okay, all the actors whose length is greater than 8, the characters are that will be only Mahesh Babu and Pawan Kalyan are available. If I want to do the opposite, okay, just copy this and just paste it here and just change the reference variable name not greater than 8 and use the negate method. S dot, I mean greater than 8 dot negate. It will do the opposite. It will do what? It will do the opposite. Okay, actors whose length is not greater than 8, the characters are not greater than, oh, I want to pass this, no, not greater than 8, that will be printed. Are you getting this? Right? So I can also combine two logics. By using AND operator. Like I can do so many stuffs. I can manipulate so many things here. Are you getting this? Sometimes if I have like something like, sometimes might be having a null value, or sometimes I might be having the empty strings.